I'm Engineer Mubarak Isaku, the coordinator for the Energy Technology Center. The center is under the School of Engineering, the University for Development Studies. And as part of its mandate, we conduct consultancy, capacity development workshops, and then webinars to educate the public on renewable energy and energy efficiency strategies. We are organizing this webinar and inviting a field expert, Engineer Amu Dudu, to present on hydropower. I would like to call on our Dean, Engineer Prof. Sini Ibrahim Yakubu, to give us the welcome address.
Good morning to everyone and welcome to today's webinar. Good morning to everyone and welcome to this webinar. The Energy Technology Center is a center in the School of Engineering, like the coordinator said, with a mandate to promote the use of energy sustainably. And then these webinars are a series that we've been organizing for quite a number of time over the past year or so now. And with this topic, as it came, I was very much excited because we at the school here are excited that enjoy it and let's participate. Thank you very much.
For the introduction, I would like to use this opportunity to thank all the participants, especially Professor Seni, who just gave an introduction remarks, and all other professors, HODs, and then dear colleagues from Water River Authority and other participants from, I'm sure there are some friends who are joining from US and then Nigeria. So in the course of the presentation, they may join us. Thank you very much. Today we are going to look at achieving energy security in Ghana. We are aware that over the past years in Ghana, we have actually been struggling to actually enjoy electrical energy continuously. And therefore, there is a need for us to identify the hydro potentials that we have in the country, why we have developed some and some are not. And over the past years, we have also diversified. Why the need for that? So at the end of the day, we shall get a better appreciation of what we have in the country and what we are yet to do again in the country to sustain the electrical energy that we have in Ghana. So at this time, I would like to set the ball rolling, and I will try as much as possible to make it more practical, especially those students from UNER and University of Development Studies, for them to be able to appreciate the presentation. So we are going to look at the background of the presentation, the potential of hydroelectric power we have in the country, the challenges so far, why we've not developed what we have, the opportunities when we develop them, and energy diversification, especially electrical energy, that has brought Ghana to this far. Then we shall conclude and then give the chance to all participants to ask questions and then also contribute. So this is the way we are going to go about it. At the end of the day, I will ask the coordinator to share the presentation with everyone. Over the past years, you know, Ghana, we have experienced doom so that's on and off for a period of 4 years between 2012 and 2016. And the whole country was in a mess. Economically, everybody was suffering. And then the question experts were asking, or many people, why are we in darkness when we have a lot of hydro potential in Ghana? Until 1998, you were having only 2 hydro dams in Ghana, Akosomo and then Pond Dam, where I can be located. Until 2013, when Buipoa Dam was, that brought a total hydropower plant to 3 in the country. But between 2012 and 2016 wasn't the first time this country experienced doomsday. Doomsday was experienced between 1982 and 1984 when Pond Dam was commissioned. so many years ago. Between 1982 and 84, there was a total drought. So there was no water, or the water level in Akosombo was not enough to provide sustainable electrical energy to the good people of Ghana. So the DUMSO started in 1982 to 84. It was a severe challenge for the nation. On the basis of that, in 1998, the government at that time thought it wise to diversify the energy, electrical energy in the country. Therefore, we introduced in thermal energy. So before the end of this presentation, we shall appreciate the thermal you have in the system, how far Ghana has diversified over the years, and why thermal energy, and why we have not developed a lot of the hydro that we have in the country. So I would like the students among us to take notes and ask questions, because at the end of the day, one of the essence of this presentation is to ensure that it will stimulate the students' understanding for them to be able to do a lot of research and come out with better alternative energy sources for the good people of Ghana and West Africa. Now, between the period that we suffered so much DUMSO, 2012-2016, the whole country, including barbering shop, hair salon, wherever, whatever you can remember, everybody was in a big challenge financially, because according to World Bank, electrical energy is the foundation for any economy to survive. So once you don't have electrical energy, you cannot make much progress. Now, if you come to, I'm on slide number 4, I hope you can see. So the total hydroelectric power we have in the country as at now, as at today, as I'm talking, we have installed capacity of 1,580 megawatts. And we have dependable of 1,400 megawatts. Akosombo alone is giving us 1,020 megawatts, but the dependable one is 900 megawatts. One may ask, what is the difference between the installed capacity and the dependable capacity, especially for the benefit of our dear students among us? You know, assuming you have 100 Ghana at Ghana Commercial Bank, that 100 Ghana is yours, it's for you. You can go for it anytime, but anytime you go to the bank, you want to withdraw the 100 Ghana, the bank may not be able to give you all the 100 Ghana. They'll give you 80 Ghana out of the 100, because 20 Ghana is actually being used as part of your saving, whatever they call it. So you can't get all the 100 Ghana. When you come to the power plant, even though you have 1,020 megawatt as the installed capacity, at any point in time, if you want to call for the whole 1,020 megawatts, dependably, you can only get 900 at a go, because some of the power is used for other sources, for law source and other things. So if you want to account for it, you can account for 900 at a go. The same thing applies to GS. You have 160 megawatts, and you can call for 140 megawatts. Megawatt is power, the unit of power. We hydro, we have 400 megawatts. Some books you see 404 megawatts, and you are seeing 400 megawatts on my screen. What is happening is that we power, they have 4 generating units, but normally you call it 3 generating units, and each unit is having 133.3 megawatts. 133.3 megawatts. So if you combine the 3 units, you get approximately 400 megawatts. The 441 is giving us only 4 megawatts, but that one is not on the grid. It is for the internal services of the plant and their environment where they are located. So normally in books, you find out that sometimes written 404. It's true, it's not a lie. It's 404 megawatts. But what is on the grid that we are enjoying is 400 megawatts. So that is the explanation. So the dependable one you can get is 360 megawatts. This is the hydro potential that we have at the moment in Ghana. But that is not the only existing potential that we have. This is the one we have constructed and we are enjoying. Now let's move on. You found out that I'm sure my screen is moving at the same time with yours. I've actually shown you the graph of Ghana, the map of Ghana, where we have a lot of hydropower potential. You can see from your left-hand side on your screen, we have Kobo, which we have 68 megawatts, which we have not actually constructed yet. You have Intereso, 64 megawatts, which we have not also developed. We have Lanka, 95 megawatts. One may ask, oh, so we have all this potential in Ghana. So what is happening to Ghana? And we've not developed them. And you were experiencing doom so. You have Bui, which you have already developed 400 megawatts. You have Akosomo on your right-hand side. You have developed 1,020 megawatts. And then you have PONGS. On the screen, you can see 20 megawatts, but it's 160 megawatts. So if you can see from my screen, the next one, you realize that I have actually tabulated all the megawatts in Ghana, and we have 19 of them. Kobu, Intereso, Lanka, Bui, up to 19 potential hydro in Ghana. Out of these 19, we have already developed 10 of them. So the total hydro potential in Ghana as of today is 2,420 megawatts. 2,420 megawatts. Out of the total 2,420 megawatts, we have only developed 1,580 megawatts, which comprise of Akosomo Dam number 18, which is 1020 megawatts, PONGS 160, and Bui number 4, 400 megawatts. So what is happening to Ghana? That we have this potential, which we have free fuel. Of course, the water is free, so you don't need to go and buy fuel like you buy for the thermal plant. So why are you not developing 2,420 megawatts and you have 1,580? By the end of the presentation, you will get a better appreciation of why. Okay, so if you look at, I hope you can see my graph. You find out that I have actually indicated the entire hydro potential in Ghana, and on your right-hand side, I have indicated that not yet constructed. Not yet constructed alone is 840 megawatts. That's a lot. 840 megawatts. Because according to Energy Commission, every year, if Ghana is to construct 300 megawatts, we shall be free from doing so forever and ever, because our population is going high, our industrial drive is also going high, and we have 840 sitting down doing nothing. Why is it that? You get to know that. So the total that you can see from the pointer, 2420 megawatts, and we have only 1,580. So we shall appreciate why and why we've gone for thermal as well. So reserve all your questions, and when the time comes, we shall attempt to answer them all. Why? What is the challenge? What is the reason why you've not been able to do that? Now, the common challenge that and it is renewable and is the best thing for us as a country, and for that matter for the whole world, because it doesn't emit any emissions, or even if it emits emissions, they are actually negligible, they're not too high. So the cause or the reason why you've not been able to change. What is climate change? It's the average weather condition details to explain why we are not able to develop all the hydro potential. And then the main cause is climate change. of emissions, and these emissions are coming from the industry, from the power production that we have, from our thermal generation, from cars we have. Globally, or the whole world, it is known that car transportation is the main cause of carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide, or gas, or from DFO, or from LCO. All these are contributing to this climate change. And if the climate changes, what are the effects? Then, when there's a change in climate, what it means is that the temperature if that happens, what it means is that those living across the sea or along the island or where they find themselves within water bodies, all these water bodies are going to increase in height, and it's going to be a challenge for those people living there. Now there's going to be change in precipitation, rainfall, snow, all is going to change. So you're going to have a lot of negative impact on we, the human beings here on Earth. There's going to be drought and a lot of flood everywhere. Today, if you're listening to the world news, you'll find out that there are a lot of bushfire across the globe in many parts of the world, especially Western world. In US, California, in UK, all these places, there are a lot of fire going on because the temperature has gone so high that so many negative impact on our environment. And then the causes are, according to Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change is known as IPCC. It was a group of scientists which was actually gathered, or they were put together by Paris Agreement in 2015. And the main responsibility is for them to gather all the scientific evidence in the world to determine the causes of this climate change and how we can mitigate or we can actually adapt. Climate change is not something to come in future. It's actually with us today. It is not something we are expecting to see tomorrow. We are actually experiencing it right now as I'm talking to you. So every year, the to United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, we call them UNFCCC, CCC. Now, their main challenge or the main purpose or the responsibility of the IPCC is to actually give report on what is happening to every section of this world. So every information from them is very credible. Now, if you look at the adaptation where my pointer is, if this climate change is with us already, we are experiencing it, then there's a means or there's a way we have to find out how we are going to adapt to all these changes. If not, we are going to have challenges on food security, water resources, ecosystem, and all the living and the non-living things. Because water is one of the most important commodities in this world. And the research has shown, I think 2 years ago, I made a presentation to Ghana Institute of Engineering, and I indicated that research has shown that by the year 2030, Ghana is likely to buy or import water from abroad. So if you have to import water, the cause of this is climate change. Because if the temperature is so high, all the water bodies that we have, they're all going to evaporate. And then the level of water is going to go down. That will have negative impact on the lifestyle of each and every one of us. Now, you see that there's to and fro, it's bidirectional. Adaptation, you have socio-economic development path, where you have economic growth, technology, population. Once we do not find solution to climate change, then our lifestyle in terms of our economy, population, in terms of technology, they are all going to have negative impact, and we cannot grow as a human being because there will be sickness, diseases, and everything. And it has already started. In Kenya, Ethiopia, this morning, BBC, they are suffering to get food and water just because of invasion of Ukraine by the Russians. And it's affecting each and every one of us because fuel price, everything has gone high. So if you're not able to mitigate, to control, or to reduce, and then it continues like that, life is going to be difficult for each and every one of us. Not only on hydropower plants, but even we, the human beings. Okay, so now, the challenges, according to International Panel on Climate Change, all these climate change is caused by human activities, and they call it anthropogenic activities. They are human activities. We are the one doing that. We are the one actually cutting all the trees in this world for our personal benefit. We are the one using oil, coal-fired plants to produce electricity because we want to develop as a nation. But technically speaking, Ghana in general, we have not actually warmed the planet. We've not increased the temperature by even 0.01%. There is BRICS countries. BRICS stand for BRICS. Brazil stand for the B, Russia stand for the R, I stand for India, C stand for China, and the S stand for South Africa. So you put in the BRICS countries. They are the high polluters of this environment that we have. If you go to China, about 70 to 80% of the electricity production comes from coal-fired plants. And you know that coal is one of the highest emitters of greenhouse gases. Carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and all those things are coming from all these fossil fuel plants, oil, FDO, LCO, all these ones. And then the highest of them is coming from Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. In Africa in general, it's only South Africa which is actually warming the planet a little, because 80% of electricity generation from South Africa is coming from coal-fired plants. And they have about 2% coming from nuclear power plants. You know, South Africa is the only country in Africa with nuclear power plants. And they will continue. In fact, they need to also industrialize. They need to move economically. So they have a lot of coal-fired plants. In Ghana, we've not done much. We've not even warmed the planet at all. But the truth of the matter is that either you are the one warming the planet or not, the whole world is together. So whatever happens in one country affects you in your country. And therefore, the negative impact of this global warming or the Western world warming the planet, we are the one feeling the impact so much, we the Africans. So if you look at African land, like you can see, most part of Africa, especially in the northern part of Africa, eastern part of Africa, and then West Africa, according to Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, their latest report, that is the 6th report, they are saying that West Africa, southern part of Africa, Central Africa, they are going to suffer so much from this negative impact of climate change. So Africa, we are at disadvantages. We are disadvantaged even though we are not the one causing the havoc. You remember during the time of Donald Trump, he said they want to leave, they don't want to be part of the Paris Agreement where they are supposed to actually make or contribute significantly to the sources of this world, because they are also, because US alone is actually producing, they're contributing more than 15% to the total harmful effect of the whole world, because most of their plants are also coming from coal-fired plants. If you take a country like European Union, if you take Germany, Germany is the biggest economy in Europe, and they are also having, apart from wind energy, the second highest energy source in the country is coal-fired plants. Germany decommissioned most of their nuclear power plants, and then they started firing most of the old, even the old coal-fired plants, and they are destroying the environment. The question is, why do you decommission nuclear, which is almost emission-free, and then you continue to fire nuclear coal-fired plants? It's because of so many issues, but for the purpose of this presentation, I want to limit myself to this. So Africa in general, if the water bodies begin to actually reduce because of high temperature, then we are going to suffer so much that you don't get water to drink, you don't get water to produce power, you are going to die of hunger because you don't even get water for irrigation, and we are going to be in a high distress. So what do you do next? So as part of Paris Agreement, it was stated that every country should do what is known as NDC, nationally determined contribution. According to the Paris Agreement in 2015, they taxed each and every country to look at what they want to do in terms of energy generation and generate a lot of sustainable energy such as solar, hydro, wind, and other sustainable energy sources. And when you do that, every year, you are expected to actually show your results. 2, you have to report to United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Because based on your national determined contribution, NDC, then they'll be able to put together either the whole world, you are making any positive impact to reduce the negative effect of climate change. And because of that, it is not binding. Every country will choose to do it the way they want it. But as far as last year, 2021, when United Nations, they met in Glasgow, in United Kingdom, the national determined contribution report submitted by UK to UNFCCC, to the agreement or to the party COP26, it was indicating that as at last year 2021, UK was not doing much. If they continue with the tangent that they are going, they will continue, the whole world cannot reduce climate change, and therefore the temperature of the world is going to increase to 3.1 degrees Celsius instead of the agreed 2% at the end of the century, 21st century. So they have been taxed to do a lot in terms of nature determined contribution. Because as part of the Paris Agreement, each country or the whole world is expected to reduce the effect of global warming or the temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius. The agreement was 2 degrees Celsius, but at least you should try as much as possible to bring it down to 1.5 degrees Celsius. But as at the year 2021, we have actually increased the temperature and we are hitting 1.1 degrees Celsius. We've not gotten close to the end of the 21st century yet, but we are doing worse than the expected. And if nothing is done about it, we are all going to be in a big challenge going forward. Now, let me actually explain what is happening for the past years between 2015 to 2018. What climate change has done to the hydro potential that we have developed, which is Akosombo Dam, over the past 4 years. If you look at it critically from 2015, 2015 is this blue dot line you can see from my screen. If you look at the red line here, this straight one, this is the minimum water level you have in Akosombo Dam in terms of feet. It's 240 feet. Now, if you look at 2015, you find out that our water went so down below the accepted level of Akosombo Dam, which is 240 feet. You were below, you were around 237 thereabouts. If you look at 2016, you find out that we are also operating below the expected. And if Akosombo Dam operates below the 240 feet, is going to give a lot of stress to the dam and it can cause the dam to collapse. So we are not allowed to operate below that. Look at it, we are far below. So 2015, 2016, 2017, there was a little bit of water in the dam. And you can see that we have come a little bit ahead of the agreed or the operating level, which is 240 feet. And then in 2017, I think the water, we were able to raise the water level, or there was a little bit of rainfall around August, and then the water went up. Sometimes it's not because of rainfall, it's because you are doing maintenance. When there's maintenance work going on, then some of the units are down, and then the water level goes up. It's just like you have an outlet, water is coming from, and then you decide to close one of the outlets, then it means that you are building more water. So August, September in 2017, you found out that the water was getting close to 250 feet. The highest point of operation for Akusumo Dam is supposed to be 278 feet, and the minimum is 240 feet. So if you look at this operation level, you know that it was not good for us. And then the main cause is climate change. The whole world is warming up. It's becoming so hot that all the water bodies are evaporating, or we are losing the waters. And because of that, we are not able to operate as required. And if it continues like that, then in future, you are going to experience more doomsday. So on the basis of that, we have actually built a lot of thermal plants to cater for all these challenges going forward. If you look at 2018, 2018 was quite better. You can see 2018, but it's not good enough, but it's better than 2015, 16, and 17. So I'm trying to give you an indication of what has happened in the past, so that you may be able to appreciate what climate change or the global warming is causing with the people of Africa. This is not only in Ghana. This is what I'm showing the picture of Ghana, but in another platform, I can give you what is happening throughout the whole of West Africa, about the 14 West African countries, including Nigeria. So the same Akusumo Dam, 2019, 2020. I've spoken about 2015 to 2018. So this is 2019, 2020. If you look at 2020, still the minimum is 240. The maximum is 278 feet. In 2019, we were operating below around 252 thereabout. And then around October, November, it went up because there was some maintenance work. And because of that, we are not actually firing all the plant, and the water is building up. If you look at 2020, so the truth of the matter is that you don't be able to hit any close to the maximum here for the past years, 2015 up to today. Today, the water level is around 260 something. This morning I checked, 260 something feet. As of today, I'm talking to you. So climate change is having a lot of negative impact on the generation of electrical energy throughout the country. So moving forward, I'm moving straight to Bui. What's happening to Bui Dam? Now, if you look at Bui, 2019 and then 2020, Bui, the minimum operating level is 168 meters above sea level. MSAL is meters above sea level. So for the purpose of our dear colleagues, students on the as part of us, 1 meter is equivalent to, if you stretch your two hands, it's equivalent to 1 meter. I want you to be able to have a better understanding of the water level. So if you stretch, or if you stretch your leg, then you are approximately getting 1 meter. So the minimum operating level of Bui Dam is 168 meters above sea level. And over the past years, between 2019, let's look at 2019. 2019, we started from 177 meters. And then when they started firing the plant, around January, it was okay. 177 was good. The maximum for Bui is 183 meters. That's the maximum operating, and then the minimum is 168. So 2019, we started from 177, and they started coming down. In fact, in June, July, August, we were nearly getting close to the minimum, 168. It will interest you to know that Bui does not operate like Akusumo Dam. Akusumo Dam is operating 24/7, most times 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes operating throughout the day. We operate during the peak period, around 5:30, 5 o'clock up to 9 o'clock or 9:30. Normally they operate with 2 minutes. So if they are to fire all the 4 minutes they have, we will actually hit below the minimum of 600 and 168 meters that you can see from here. So what it means is that we are not getting enough water in our various dams. And this is not encouraging for any investor to pour money in the development of more hydro dams in the country. So when you talk about energy security in terms of hydropower, going forward is a big challenge for the people of Africa, especially West Africa. And a lot of water body that we have with a maximum of 840 megawatt still unconstructed, it will not actually attract any investor to do that, because the data we have is not encouraging for anybody to invest so much money into that. One may ask, how come between October, November in 2019, we was able to hit the maximum, even up to above the maximum of 183 meters? The problem was that, or the challenge was that during that time, they were doing major maintenance. So one of the units was down. And because of that, they were able to build a lot of water at that time, which was 2019. Look at 2020, what happened? At the same period in 2019, we're having plenty water, 183 meters. At the same time in 2020, look at it, November, we are almost down to 172 meters when they started firing the rest of the units. So if you have to operate buoy like Akosomo Dam, you may have to park buoy somewhere because all the water will disappear. You may not have water, or you may not have fuel to power buoy dam. You know, renewable energy, for that matter, hydro dam is the cheapest. Why? Because the water or the fuel is free. You don't buy fuel like you buy gas, you buy DFO, you buy LCO for thermal plant. So it makes it very cheaper for Water River Authority, and for that matter, buoy, to run hydropower plant. So it is the interest of the nation to develop all our hydro potential. But because of the negative impact of climate change, we are not in the position to do that. So this is the picture between 2020 and 2019 for buoy. Again, the same buoy, 2018. The estimated, according to Ghana Energy Commission, they plan that the buoy should be able to operate. Look at the blue line that my cursor is on it, you know. But the reality on the ground, we're able to actually have some water level here. And when you see water level going high like that, don't be happy that maybe it has rained or we are getting water, too much water into the dam. It's because of maintenance, periodic maintenance. Anytime they are doing maintenance work, of course, they have to shut down the unit, and then the water increases in meters. So when you see more water in the dam, don't say that it is because we are having enough rainfall. That is not the case, my brothers and sisters. Let's continue. Now, what are the opportunities when you are using hydro dams? You know, hydro dams, they are renewable. And when they are renewable, the advantage is that we are not emitting any bad emissions into the atmosphere. Technically speaking, because hydro dams, they take less, so let me put it this way, they take less number of years or months to pay off their debt in terms of carbon emissions. Because during the construction, during the time they are mining the material to construct the machines, I mean the turbines, the generators, and all the accessories, if the source of energy they use is not from renewable energy sources, what it means is that some emissions were emitted. During the transportation of these devices into Ghana or into any part of the world, the car that brought them, they emitted some gases. But because if you compare renewable energy such as hydro into, if you compare with, let's say, coal-fired plant or gas turbine or any of those gases, you find out that the emissions from hydro is negligible. So most experts are saying that renewable energy is zero emissions, or it has zero emissions, or it has indirect emissions. The emission they have is not because of generation, but it's because during their time they were mining the, the equipment or the materials that they used to manufacture them. But to be frank with you, where I work at PONGS at the hydropower plant, what is happening is that you use a lot of oil. You use a lot of grease because you need to lubricate the motors. So you use fossil products such as grease. You use oil. There's something called governor system. You use oil. The governor is the one that actually lifts the gate and then closes the gate. And they use fluid, which is oil. So if you combine all those things, you cannot say that hydropower is 0% free from emissions, because we also use oil in the production of electricity. So they are all accessories that come together to make a hydropower plant complete. So you cannot get zero emission, but at least comparing with other things, it is negligible, and you can assume that it is free of emissions. Okay, let's continue on. Hydropower has a lot of benefits. Apart from giving us power, it can also be used to control flood. You know, you can use for irrigation purposes to increase the food production that you have in the country. So there are a lot of opportunities when you are using hydropower plant. Moreover, if you look at the chart I gave to you in the beginning, you find out that Ghana, and for that matter, VRA, we are developing Palugu hydropower plant in the northern part of Ghana. And Palugu, when it is done, is going to actually serve a lot of people, including farmers. Over 15,000 farmers will have access to water to actually do their farming and everything. Over the past years, anytime Bagri Dam is open in the Burkina Faso, it destroys, in fact, it actually destroys a lot of farmland in the northern part of Ghana. Our brothers and sisters, they are farming, their properties. But when you finish developing Palugu Hydro Dam, it's going to absorb all these waters, and going forward, this flooding that destroy all the farms will be the thing of the past. So these are some of the benefits we are going to get going forward. This Palugu Dam is going to cost the nation over $1 billion US. It's not a lot, it's not small money, over $1 billion US. And apart from getting 50 megawatts from the hydro, we are also going to get solar energy, which is floating solar energy. Apart from that, we are going to get irrigation from there. It's going to boost the economic activities of the people of Palugu, and it will make life more comfortable. It's going to increase their farm yield and everything, and go to boost actually the production of food. So going forward, when VRA, and for that matter, the country finish with Palugu Dam, is going to actually serve a lot of opportunities. It's going to give a lot of opportunities. A lot of our colleagues, our graduate students, those online will get jobs to do, and therefore it is important that you do that to safeguard all these good things we have there. The farmers, every year they complain because a lot of foodstuff get damaged from Bagri Dam opening. So this is one of the opportunities we are going to get from there. Let's continue. Apart from that, when we develop all these hydro potentials, we are going to actually contribute to our NDC, National Determined Contribution, because the more we do that, and then you report it to UNFCCC, the better it is for us. Because remember, as part of the agreement they had in Paris, they are supposed to give $100 billion to the developing countries for it to share to increase our renewable energy penetration. And that money has not come yet. So last year, 2021, it was mentioned, and they said they are going to release the money to us. So Ghana, and for that matter, the whole world, you all actually report on our nation determined contribution to United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, so that together it can be computed to know how much contribution you are making, and whether you are going to reach the 1.5 degrees Celsius or not. So these information are very important, and they are very vital for scientists to put them together for us to know where we are going and what we are supposed to do. So going forward, Ghana is doing their part, and as part of that, Ghana is saying that by the year 2030, you should contribute 10% of our installed capacity. It should be from renewable energy sources. In fact, the plan was to achieve that in 2020. But when we go to 2019, the country, we saw that we couldn't do that because some of the policies that will enable Ghana to achieve that 10% were not implemented. And for that matter, we have moved it from 2020 to the year 2030, which we are likely to get it because VRA, and for that matter, Ghana, we are developing a lot of renewable energy sources. Solar, we have some in Kelio, we have some in Novrongo, and other independent power producers are also doing a lot to help the nation to achieve it, independent power, to achieve it, national determined contribution, NDC. This is not political NDC. Thank you. Let's go ahead. What have you done in the country so far to ensure energy security? You know, I've mentioned to you that during 82 and 84, when we were having only 2 hydro dams, Dumsor came in between that year. So Ghana experienced Dumsor at that time. So by then, the government started thinking of how to diversify, how to get different sources of energy so that Dumsor will be the thing of the past. So government of Ghana, 1998, introduced thermal power plant, which we have the first one called Takoradi Power Company, TAPCO. And they came to Ghana with an installed capacity of 330 megawatts. That's a lot. And then the dependable one is 300 megawatts. So as of now, we have about 15 thermal plants in Ghana. And then the total installed capacity, as I'm talking to you today, is 3,753 megawatts from thermal. Because we have to diversify. If you don't diversify and we depend on only the hydro, we shall be taken by surprise. Dumsor will continue to beat us forever and ever. As I'm talking to you today, there were a lot of challenges in South Africa. They were sharing power. You know, power was a challenge there because they were not able to produce enough to feed the people of South Africa. Because the thermal plant they have, and for that matter, coal-fired plant, most of them are so old that they are not able to get efficient amount of energy from them. And therefore, the people of in fact, for the past 3 years, they have been struggling to get enough power to power their factories and then the commercial services. So Ghana, we are lucky that as I'm talking to you today, we even have excess generation. And as far as I'm concerned, as an electrical engineer, Dumsor may not come very soon. I don't want to say that you're not going to experience Dumsor again. It may not come very soon. I think I'm safer to say that than to say it will not come again. So this dependable one is 3,480.6 megawatts. And then the installed. If you look at number 7, which is Ameri plant, at the moment it's not in service. Do I have to say this? We have decommissioned it. We want to take it to Kumasi to actually produce power there into the grid. It is a part of the network, but there are a lot of technical. This presentation may not give me the chance to talk about it. But the most important thing for you to appreciate today is that we have 3,753 megawatts capacity installed in this country, and that is enough dependable generation that you can count on. So you are safe, you're not going to sleep in darkness. VRA, for that matter, government of Ghana is doing a lot to ensure that everybody enjoy electricity. Let's continue. If you come to slide number 21, many people have been saying, oh, but we have a lot of solar in Ghana. Why are we in darkness? We have a lot of solar, you know, we have been talking about it. Yes, of course we have. But the one on the grid, which is connected to the national grid, we have VRA. We were the first people or first generation company in Ghana to install solar energy, which is 2.5 megawatt on the grid. So we have 2.5, dependable one is 2 megawatts. VRA again invested a lot of money. In Lola, we have 6.5 megawatts in Lola. Those of you know Lola, they can testify to that. Kalio, we have 13 megawatts in Kalio that has been commissioned as of last year, 2021. We have BXC Solar. Actually, BXC is not for VRA. It's an independent power producer. Along the pathway we are going to Miniba, they have 20 megawatts. We have My Energy. They also in the same corridor, in the Miniba Road, they also have 20 megawatts. We have we they have 51 megawatts installed. And then you have distributed solar, which is 30.9 megawatts. So the total solar power on the grid as at now is 143.9 megawatts. As I'm talking to you today, this is solar we have on the grid that we are all enjoying together. So we have diversified the electrical energy in the country to ensure that energy security is assured at all times. Okay. Now, this is the hydro. So you know that I'm trying to let you appreciate that we have the thermal, we have the hydro, and then we have the solar. Of course, we have solar in individual houses. I've not accounted for that. So if I bring them together, we have more than 143.9 megawatts, but I'm only reporting on the one on the grid that we are all enjoying as good people of Ghana together. If you look at the hydropower plant, number 3, you see that I've put we 404. I intentionally did that, but in the beginning I put 400 there. I just want you to appreciate that the 4th unit is giving us 4 megawatts. And then each of the 3 units is 133.33 megawatts. So the 3 units is giving us approximately 400 megawatts. So if you see the 404, don't be surprised. I intentionally did that for the benefit of students among us, so that when they are reporting on it, they will be able to appreciate that they have 404 and not 400 megawatts. Now, after we have diversified in the country, we have only thermal representing 68%, hydro representing 29%, and solar alone representing 3%. We have other micro grid or micro dam in the country. I didn't account for that. If I account for that, what it's going to mean is that this solar you are seeing here, which is 3%, this one is for only solar. We have a micro dam in the country, which is, I've forgotten the figure, but it's around 1. What it means is that it's going to actually increase this one, and then it is going to decrease this one to maybe 67 megawatt. Of course, thermal is leading. So if thermal is leading, what should come to our mind is that it means that Ghana, we are actually contributing a lot to emissions, which has negative impact on everybody in the world. You see, the whole world is together. No country is sovereign. Whatever happens in one country affects everybody in any part of the world. So we have 68% covering our generation. We have 29% of hydro, 3% for solar. So something must be done about it. We have to increase our renewable contribution. We have to increase this, the generation of hydro, but I've told you the challenges in generating hydro, because if we are to run the whole of we like we are running Akosomo, you may not be able to keep it running. Running only 2 minutes, you see the impact. You've never been able to hit the high level of the water in terms of meters. So let's continue. If you come here, I'm coming to the end of it because they gave me 1 hour, 30 minutes for question time. So what I'm trying to say is that the whole Ghana, we need to increase our renewable energy. And then at the same time, I would like to also ask that all the tertiary institutions, especially the technical universities, and everybody should try as much as possible to train our youth or the students to be able to design, construct, and implement solar technologies, because in some part of the world, such as Malaysia, the government taxed the technical universities to develop solar panels, to develop inverters, to develop energy storage materials such as batteries and the rest, and they did it. They are not better than us. We can also do that. So I think there's a need for us as a country to work together, and the industry and the academia should have a better relationship for us to bring our ideas together to be able to develop this nation going forward. So this nation, we also have to continue to educate our youth, especially those from primary school to the university level, how to use energy efficiently. Energy efficiency is very important. You don't have to waste energy. Last week, the Prime Minister of Germany was asking everybody to bath less than 5 minutes because they want to save energy. They don't want people to waste energy because they are not getting enough generation, because by then, Russia was intentionally doing maintenance work on the pipeline that comes to Germany. And because of that, Germany was suffering from electrical energy. They have to import power from France. They have to import power from Norway to be able to survive. Therefore, they were being advised to use energy efficiently. So let us all educate our youth how to actually use energy wisely so that we can save this good planet that God has given to us. On that note, I would like to also recommend that future energy seminars, you should look at nuclear energy, what impact, or if you should, Ghana should go for nuclear energy, because as of now, plans are far ahead. Ghana is planning to, in collaboration with Water River Authority, Power, and the Ghana Atomic Energy, to have our first nuclear power plant in Ghana by the year 2030. And maybe in future, we may be invited to give a presentation on it so that you know what Ghana is going in for and why you should go for nuclear power or nuclear energy. Because going forward, if you look at Tema, because of fluctuation of price of crude oil, it may not be the best to go. Experts are also saying that in the next few years ahead of us, we are not going to have oil, or in that, for that matter, fossil fuel is going to be the end. It's going to be the end. It's going to finish. Let me put it that way. You're not going to have enough fossil fuel, and therefore, if you even have your money and you want to buy, you will not get it. Even today, Russia is the second highest producer of oil, second, and then the United States of America is the first in the whole world. And Russia's contribution to the sources of energy security in the world is very high. And therefore, when they started invading Ukraine, the whole country, the whole world is feeling it, because they were producing fertilizer. Natural gas used to produce fertilizer. And now food has become very scarce for us because farmers are not getting fertilizer. Anything that happens to energy affects every other commodity. So the way to go in Ghana, according to our experts, we are supposed to have nuclear power because the price of uranium does not fluctuate as compared to oil. And if you look at most of the developed world, such as France, Germany, United States of America, China, they are all using nuclear energy. Germany decided to decommission most of the nuclear energy because of what happened in Fukushima and what happens in Japan and all those ones. But now they are paying the penalty for it. Now they are going back to nuclear again because for them to be sustainable in terms of power, they need a dependable base load. And therefore, they are thinking of going back to nuclear. So Ghana, going forward, nuclear may be the solution for Ghana to have energy security in the future. And for that matter, let us all have another presentation for that. These are the references, and I have actually finished my presentation. Thank you all for your audience.
Wow. Thank you, Engineer Mu. We are grateful for that insightful presentation. It's now time for questions. So if you have a question, you can raise your hand up. I'll unmute. I'll call you. You unmute your mic and ask your question. Then engineer will attempt to answer them. So I see Mr. Joseph. Please, you can unmute your mic and then ask your question.
Yeah. Good morning, colleagues, and then also Engineer Mudiodu for your presentation. That's nice. It's a good start. But there are some few clarifications. Did you hear my voice?
Yes,
I can hear you loud and clear.
You are audible.
Yes, fine. First of all, you talk about what? For not developing the hydro potential is due to climate change. The IPC recommend not necessarily so. Well, of course, if you get back to history, when the government, Kwame Nkrumah opted for the the hydro dam, yeah, the World Bank and other concern was it's going to be too huge a dam and going to suffer a lot of evaporation and all that. So they were advised Kwame Nkrumah to go to look at other options like this about, or Sajifi went for it. So yeah, the key thing is that when you talk about hydro, particularly in Ghana here, it's largely the cost. and also water. Why? You know, there are many. Well, I used to be the director for policy and plan at the Energy Commission. I retired about 2 years ago, and I do something else. The challenge is that, you know, the initial capital cost is very high. And secondly, when you touch water, you are touching common public property. So if you go to a lot of countries, you're inviting partners, they hardly are interested in hydro development unless you have your own money. I remember VRA had a strong opposition. In fact, at a certain point in time, VRA was no more interested in buoy development. I remember that time, Professor Quay's time, that he invited VRA, me, and then from other institutions, I think, and to debate. And I said, let's go. Then they asked, where do we get the money? And I said, let's go to China. They don't mind much about climate and all those kind of things. And then we got it. So the key thing is, if you want to get a partner to help you develop hydro, it's really very challenging. And then you also mentioned the Akosombo level dam in 2015 and to 2017 when we had that. Let's be sincere to ourselves. It was not necessarily really because of a drought. I will call it, at times I call it mismanagement, interference by the government authorities. Because that you need to buy oil. We have we are then moving to what? A situation where we have more thermal, less hydro. Thermal about 65% of electricity generation mix, and then hydro about 35%. Yes, so if you don't have money to buy thermal and do your fuel, then what? A lot of pressure on VRA to run the water, to overdraft it. So that was a challenge. Remember, we were owing that time, the Western gas pipeline was some money. We see and all that. Fine. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
You mentioned asset generation. If you mention asset, this is my last comment anyway.
Okay,
if you mention asset generation, power generation, I see so we are deceiving ourselves. If there's asset generation, why not be vehicle running? A number of industries are not running. It's all because of the relatively high electricity costs. Otherwise, I remember being the lead for the strategic energy plan, the recommendations we made, that in fact, by 2020, we need about 5,000 megawatts. But then we're talking an average generation tariff, a power tariff of about 10 cents per unit. Now, what do you have? Even the industries, how can you run? Industry makes big industries that have back and others not to go more than 5 cents per unit. Medium, like the commercial, the chocolates and others around 8 cents per unit. You are giving them to around 15 and those cents. How can they run? So I can tell you some of these companies like Unilever and others, what they do, they combine all their batteries in West Africa as like one. So where power is cheaper, they produce it and then ship it to other countries like Ghana. So they produce Nigeria, Ivory Coast, and Benin here to sustain their business. So I keep saying that kind of excess capacity, it's a deception. Left to me alone, I say, let's reduce the electricity cost no matter what, to keep more of the industry running. For a start beginning, ECG may not have the money, or may look, but if they will just look at the value chain, it is going to cause more people to run, more parties companies to make money and others. Then we test that area, them to compensate VRA and that the power producers. The challenge that I don't trust ourselves that if we set up this even escrow account, and if not, if it's purely under government, they will touch the misuse it. So I keep saying, if you set that account, it should be controlled by both private and government. So the government, when it turns on, you cannot just touch it. Here is a good example we have is the crude oil fuel. We said that the one to upgrade the reserve and all those. But then we are high cost electricity. Where is that money that's supposed to control in times of crisis?
Okay, wow, thank you.
That's my comment. Right.
Yes, thank you very much, engineer, for that comment. We are grateful for your comment. Now,
I'm Dr. Joseph Isando.
Okay, Doc. Okay, Doc. Okay, thank you very much for your comments. Engineer Mo, do you want to comment, or we can, since it's a comment, let's let the next person ask the question.
I'd like to appreciate the presence of Dr. Isando. I sent him the link this morning and he has been able to attend. Thank you so much, Doc, for your inputs. I think the group, we all appreciate this insightful comment that you've given to us.
Okay, thank you. So the next person is Mr. Emmanuel Odami.
Yes,
sorry,
good morning.
Yes, I only read the names. Your titles are not. Yes. If you want me to mention your title, please rename your name. Your name
that's fine. That's fine.
Yes,
that's
thank
fine.
you.
Thank you for this opportunity, Engineer Mo. That's excellent presentation. But I just want to touch on where Doc just touched. You mentioned of 840 megawatts not yet developed. I want to find out if you look at Bui, in your presentation, you mentioned that they are not being run like Akosombo. This is because the reservoir is not containing more water as it should. And therefore, looking at their innovation, they've been able to add some solar to compensate for that. Have we done any feasibility studies to look at this potential, the 840 you are talking about, whether it could be of benefit so that maybe along the line you add some solar to it? Because looking at where the world is going now, you mentioned once again that the oil is getting finished, and at a point, if you're even having money, you cannot get the oil to run the thermal plants and other ones. So it means solar is the key area for us to look. But looking at VRA, for a long time, we only have a small amount of solar compared to Bui who is 751. So VRA, I think there's more we can do to push our generation to certain high level. Then the next one is you mentioned of climate change, and then you said you did some presentation to Institute of Engineers, and you mentioned that by 2030 Ghana is going to import water or something. I want to find out, as engineers, as technocrats, as elite, this galamsey madness, how are we helping the government to let the people know that this activity has a huge negative impact on the country at first and also at the whole world? I think there are a lot of questions I wanted to ask, but because of time, I'll leave it here for you to, if there are anything that you want to talk about it, you talk about it so that others can also continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your question. Engineer Mo, do you want to comment?
Yeah, thank you so much, Engineer Emmanuel Odami. I think you are right. With the hydro potential that we have, just like Dr. Isando mentioned, even though International Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, they've mentioned that West Africa, you're going to have a lot of challenge if you develop a hydropower plant because of climate change. Dr. Isando has also contributed that, apart from that, the financial aspect of it is so high, and therefore, we may not even have the financial strength. Look at the Palugu, 50 megawatt, 60 megawatt for the solar. The total cost about $1 billion US. It's a lot of money. And going forward, a country with GDP less than $60 billion, if you are to develop such a thing, that it's going to have a huge burden on us. And apart from that, because of what research is saying, it may be prudent for Ghana to invest in energy that maybe, will be a base load for us going forward. And for that matter, Ghana is developing or in the process of getting nuclear power plant into the nation. However, you also mentioned about the water level is being misused in terms of galamsey and everything. If care is not taken to safeguard the water bodies that we have, apart from the water level going down because of climate change, and they're also being destroyed by our colleagues looking for money, we may have to struggle to get water to drink. Even in Ghana, as of now, only few people are getting very potable water to drink. Most of them are drinking some water which are not good enough. So we all have to educate ourselves very well so that going forward, we shall have a peaceful land and then a peaceful water, a peaceful atmosphere to enjoy. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Engineer Amu. And for the time factor sake, please, let's be brief with our questions so that he can respond quickly and then we'll end the webinar. Mr. M. Suleimana, please, you can unmute your mic and ask your question.
All right, thank you very much. Hello?
Yeah, hello, you are audible.
Yeah, thank you very much. Engineer Amu, thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. I have two things. One, you mentioned that with regard to the hydropower, it is not the quantity of water that we usually get from rains that actually supports the running of it, but most of the times is due to improving the equipment that are used to run it. I'm not very clear there, so I want your clarification about that point.
All right.
Then the second one is you mentioned that moving into future, Ghana should be looking at nuclear power, and there is a need for us to be able to train students or get expertise that will help us to be able to generate nuclear power, since fueling it will be much cheaper as compared to that of thermal and that of hydro. But I've seen that as a challenge for now, because looking at our institutions, a little attention is paid to nuclear power. So I don't know within a very short time whether Ghana can be able to get the needed human resource to be able to develop that aspect of power to generate or to provide out electricity. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Musa, the head of Maths Department under the School of Engineering. Engineer Amu, would you like to comment on that briefly so that the next person will ask?
Thank you so much, Doctor. With the rainfall, I was attempting to say that if it rains here in Akuse or Akosomo, that is not enough rainfall to guarantee an appreciable level of water that can get electricity. Most of the time, the water may have to come from Burkina Faso when it rains in the north too. You see, like for example, for example, we shall get a lot of water from Belgium when they open. So it can rain heavily in Akosomo or Akuse, or even in B, but that water may not be enough to give us any high of meters to generate electricity. Again, in terms of nuclear, going forward, you know, Ghana, for the past years, they have set up a team that includes Water Authority, we and then nuclear atomic energy. And then they are looking forward to actually come out with a nuclear power plant in the next few years, the year 2030. And that's are far advanced. There's one Dr. Kofi Sobadi, he has written a paper, and according to him, Ghana is going for the small size, high pressurized nuclear power plant. So for technical aspect of it, we need to train the young ones to be able to, of course, I believe that they'll bring in BOT, build, operate, and transfer. So by the time they go, they must have trained a lot of our engineers, our students, our graduates, so that we take over like they did for Ameri. It was build, operate, and transfer. So going forward, it's true that you said you may be thinking that it may not come online very soon. I'm also tempted to believe the same way, that it may not come online soon as expected in 2030, because we need a political support to be able to achieve this. So going forward, let's see how it goes. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for your comments. Yes, wow. I can see Irene. Please, you can mute your mic and then ask your question.
Yes, thank you very much. The presentation was a very wonderful one. Engineer Mu, thank you. And to the organizers of the presentation too. You did a good job. I have 3 questions. One to Dr. Joseph, and then the others to the second to Engineer Mu, and then the rest to the organizers of the program. Dr. Joseph, I want to know, in your capacity back then when you were at the ministries, and even now, what have been your contributions in trying to get electricity tariff down? Because currently I agree with you that the industries, the companies out there, the private sector is suffering from high electricity levies. And so in your capacity as a doctor in the first place, and then the positions you held, I'm sure you were also close to the policymakers, what have been your contribution to try and drive that into cabinet for that to be passed? Because I agree with you that for tariffs to come down, government would have to subsidize. At this point where we find ourselves now, if government does not come to subsidize and pay BRA some amount of money, there's no way tariff can come down. Thank you. Then to Engineer Mu, if I got you right, does that mean that from the water trajectory that you showed, is not too sustainable? That is for a very long time. And what will be the lifespan of that dam? Then 3, the organizers of the program. This was a very insightful program, but the participants were few. So I pray that next time such a thing should be widely promoted. Myself, I got it at a very short notice, I think 2 minutes to the start of the program, but I tried to rope in about 4 people, even though they had challenges. But to the participant or organizers of the program, such a thing must be promoted wide for all to be educated. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Irene, for your comments and then question. Yes, your comments are well noted, so we'll work on that. But we have a Facebook page, so if you are on Facebook, you can like our page. Usually our webinars are shared there, and those who have joined previous webinars, those who have even provided their emails, we'll add them to our mailing list, and then you'll be invited to future webinars. So Engineer Mo, I think you can take yours, and then if Dr. Joseph is still online, he can comment on Madam Irene's questions. So Engineer Mo.
Okay, thank you so much, Engineer. Thanks, Irene. I think Irene is trying to find out if GUI is sustainable going forward, because you don't have enough water in the dam. I always want to base my argument based on research. From the current reports from Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, they are claiming that in West Africa, and for that matter, most part of Africa, we are going to have water challenges. Rainfall pattern is going to change. Some part of Africa will experience more rain, but the spectacle on West Africa, we are going to have less rain. And if those claims are anything to go by, then what it means is that not only we, the entire hydro dam that we have in the country are going to suffer for that. Remember, I mentioned that between 1982 and 84, we were experiencing droughts, and because of that, we were not able to produce enough power to feed the entire country. And with this research, which I believe in most of the research, I'm tempted to believe that, yes, going forward, it may not be sustainable. The word is may not. Thank you so much. And I think Dr. Isando may be online. He may also contribute to your question. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello. Thank you very much.
Dr. Isando, please, if you can hear me.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible, Doc.
Yeah, thank you. The challenge when you are at that top there, Energy Commission, our main objective really is what? To advise. I remember very well, a change of government will come, and then you put out this, like, for example, the SNAP to achieve.
Hello, say, please, you can hear Dr. Sando.
Yes. Is it okay?
Yes, please, you are audible. Please continue.
Okay. You advise that do this A, B, C, D, and you get that.
Oh.
And no, they don't want you to come out, go out to the public. And then you on your own also cannot go to the public because you are serving as somebody. Otherwise, you make a lot of policy recommendations. And to your boss, the CEO, and he's supposed to forward it to the ministry. And mind, the challenge you have nowadays is that, all these positions are appointed by the government. So at times, most of them will not like to say anything that will offend the government or something like that. But all I'm saying that the proposal I made was that if you put the value chain together, do you see? If more people like the Chinese are doing, they say they're goods very cheap to you, you buy. If good people are working, more people are working, more money. Then you find a way of collecting that money through another area of the value chain that do not have a significant negative impact on the people. Now look at oil. You all know, since from PNDC time, that if you touch oil, it's going to affect everything. So like Ghana here, we talk about 29.8% inflation. What is happening to agriculture? Just 3.38%. Because they are subsidizing oil. Nigeria, 17%. They are subsidizing oil. So all we are saying that there's always a way to go about it. But at times, the same ECG and others, they want their money fast. You see, and then if it's so high, people will not buy. So let's go there for more people to buy, for more people to get employment, to work, for parties to work. They make more money. People feel happy in the country and they're able to pay their taxes. That was all what I was saying. But then before I sign up, a small comment to Engineer Abo. You said the oil is getting finished. In actual fact, the global oil, coal, and fossil fuel will never get finished. But what is going to happen is that because of the transition, they are not going to be on a lower row. And then we have more clean, so-called clean energy being in the largest share of countries' energy mix. And remind you also that at times we get confused. It is not zero emissions, not zero greenhouse gas emissions. It's net zero greenhouse gas emissions. What it means that you can still use your fossil fuel like gas, oil, and coal, but if you balance it in your energy equation, it should be enough. It should be net zero. So it means you are going to use coal, then do more plantations. To capture to serve as a sink for CO2. These are the tricks. Whoever thought, I keep saying, my serious in these climate change negotiations, look at how the West are doing up, not down. People thought they have stopped using coal. Look what's happening when the Russians is. Now they are bringing up their coal. They will not tell you. Listen, because like you mentioned, we need base energy. You can have base energy, but you still can have more oil, wind, and all those kind of things. Another thing too, I also want to tell people, particularly people also in Africa, the oil, or I would say oil and gas for petroleum, is not only for energy. It's also for petrochemicals. The seeds we are sitting in, the plastic seed there, the fertilizer, and all those are coming from petrochemicals. That's fossil fuels. But they are not telling it that way. So we our minds don't zoom towards energy. And then, excuse me, black man, oh, look at the energy. But they are using it. Look at Russia influence for fertilizer and all those things. So the cushions you are using, the laptop, the plastics you are using, all coming from petrochemicals. So in actual, when it comes to petrochemicals, it takes about between 45 to 50% of all petroleum processing. So it's not only for energy. So in terms of energy, yes, what they call the fossil fuel component is going to reduce significantly. But for petrochemical, most of them will divert to that place. Then secondly, the oil Ghana thermal is not oil, it's natural gas. And for now, natural gas is being encouraged. So these are the key things that I want to share now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doc. Yes, I've asked Hasinia Na, please lower your hand and unmute your mic and ask your question.
Yes, thank you so much, Prof. I think that can I go ahead? I think that someone can hear me.
Yes, well? Yes, you are audible. Please.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you. I think that I would like to thank for the presentation for today. Thank you so much. For me, I think that I have two questions. If we see that in Africa, the problem is the electricity. the electricity, 70% of the population have not the electricity. And then there are many challenges of the energy. There are many challenges of the renewable energy. But I don't know exactly what is the problem for you. What is the solution for you for our country? And then which of the renewable energy types is the best for our country in Africa? Maybe the solar power is the best, or the wind power is the best, or the energy from oil and is the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your question. Engineer Amu, would you like to comment on that?
All right, thank you so much. I think our brother is, I don't know if he's calling from Nigeria. I'm not sure yet. I would like to also say that, you know, for us to determine either wind is the best or solar energy is the best, it all depends on the resources you have in your country. For example, if you look at Ghana, we have solar potential in terms of average per year, about 1,600 to 3,000 hours per year in Ghana. So if you look at it from that point of view, you are tempted to develop more solar energy. For wind, you don't have much wind potential in Ghana. The few ones we have is around the coast, you know, and some countries like Germany, for example, wind is the highest energy mix in their energy generation, followed by a coal-fired plant. So look at what you have, then you are tempted to go for that one. Each of them, because they are all sustainable energy, is good. In terms of generation, they are all good. If you are able to add storage to solar, then you make it complete so that during the night, you can still generate power to feed your people or your economy. So in terms of that, you also mentioned that Africa, yes, we are in darkness. If you look at Africa, like South Sudan, is the least electrified country in the world. You see the point? They are almost in darkness. If you go to a place like our brothers in Nigeria, over 200 million plus, they have installed capacity of less than 18,000 megawatts. And they have plans to increase it to 30,000 megawatts by 2030. This year alone, at the end of June, they have had power collapse about 5 times, only this year, 2022. What did we do wrong in Africa? The challenge is that the infrastructure, electrical infrastructure to carry the power is not robust. And because of that, most of the African countries, such as Ghana, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, we are suffering. You know, for Ghana, we are not doing bad. Our coverage is over 85% or 86% as of this year. And we are still hoping that we can cover an entire country. So Africa, especially West Africa, we are not doing a lot when it comes to sustainable or electrical energy. More than, we are about 400 million, but more than 46% are in darkness. So we all need to work hard. If it is solar we have available in our place, you have to use it. If it is wind, you have to use it. For me, even if it is clean coal that you want to have, you should have clean coal and develop our environment and our continent. That's my point of view. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Yes, thank you for the, and I must add that aside the availability of the resource, the technology know-how is also key to harnessing the energy resource. So yes, so we as a continent or as a country, we should invest in technology development so that we can make the maximum use of these resources in our environment. Yes, we have, I'll call Philemon and then Hadi, then we can end the webinar. So, Mr. Philemon, you can ask your question.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I think I have, per all the presentation contribution, I think it is a wonderful thing, and I just want to congratulate the presenter for the work done. But my question I have here is, don't you think that Ghana, we are becoming a bit complacent? Why am I saying this? You know, per the presentation, he indicated that Ghana, we have covered about 85 to 65% of the entire population with electricity. And based on this, you know, I was looking at Ghana, we should have a framework, a policy that is laid down after having done all the feasibility study, we choose one renewable energy that we are going to rope up right away. But we are just sitting aloof and waiting for maybe any other thing to happen, and then we also grab. Just like he was making presentation, Germany are specific with nuclear, other countries are specifics, and they are moving on. But Ghana, it looks as if we don't have any roadmap. I don't know if there is, maybe I can be corrected. But I think policymakers and those at the higher should be able to channel energy for us to get a roadmap so that we move on rather than leaving it into the hands of individuals or private hands. So that is just what I'm just, is there even any policy in Ghana that we are working with? Hello?
Yes, you were audible. Thank you very much for your question and comment. Yes, I've seen, I think Dr. Isano is on, probably I think you want to take that. So Inamu, hello, Doc.
Yeah, just to the nuclear aspect. Yes, there's a roadmap, you see, but nuclear is a very tricky issue. Like engineer said, fine is clean when it comes to operation. But I keep telling people, when you say environment, climate change is just one aspect of environment. That's the atmosphere aspect. The atmosphere too, now climate change is very vital. But when it comes to the developing world, we also have air quality issues. Yeah, so in that aspect, for the developed world, they feel they are well advanced when it comes to other components of environment, like the land and then the water, or how do you call it, aquatic issues. But Ghana here, when the nuclear is coming, you see, I remember there was no, it's good now we are saying we are going for smaller unit. Beginning, we were thinking about 1,000 megawatts. I said, no, it's not feasible. They will not even give it to us. They know what it is. So then we come down to to start with small nuclear, and then we'll only develop. So there's a roadmap. But the challenge is that the very developing country, the developed world that want to give to you, at times they don't trust you. If you look at it very well, all the countries, the developing countries with nuclear power, they are backed by one of these superpowers, either the United States in there or Russia. Yeah. So the UAE, that they have nuclear now, there's an American base there, and they are running the plan for them. They will not really give it to you for you to handle because they don't trust you, excuse me to say. So the next us was ready to go to China, but some of us, with the experience we had when we were building the Abu gas power plant, to me, I'm not very confident with the Chinese. That's the took us a long time. You cannot try, you cannot trust them in the civil. They come and tell you, they are put this size of pipeline there. You go there, they are covered it, and then you to go to know the trick. They go remove the pipes, and you go there and the spec pipeline. So we were thinking of going to the China, but I was a member of the National Power Authority, and they were board member, but the one and I asked them to, because I left. I could take my name out, fine. So these are the challenges, whom to trust, whom to go to. The Russians, I talked to the Russians, but they are looking at the revenue generation of the other power companies like ECG, and they feel that they may not be able to recover their money. The Americans, yes, we are talking to them and all those things. So the key thing is that, look at my experience for some of these strategic kind of energy sources, one want to back you, be full control, just in case of something. So then they are there. They'll not just give you, they'll say nice thing to you, but in practice, even the new people will tell you, or even the research we are trying here, they are finding who have come to a place they give a smaller uranium concentrate because they are afraid. That's my question. So if it's fine, like I'm saying, first of all, even though the world power is developed countries say it's clean because they handle the aquatic issues, and then the land-based, when there's a challenge or accident, the challenge, the air, there's no emission, so fine. But it's just the same thing with those of Africa and other developing countries, we don't know yet. Then secondly, it's trust, whether they can trust us. They'll keep saying, they'll not tell you plainly. They'll keep wasting our time. That's the whole thing, because it started this thing as far back as the early 2009, 2010, around early in the 2000s. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doc. And then Hadi Abdul Jalil, please unmute your mic and then ask your question.
Sir, good afternoon. I'm very happy to be part of this seminar. The question I have to ask is, per the chart you showed, the energy usage indicated that Ghana, we use less clean energy. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible. Please ask.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible. Please go ahead.
Okay, I'm saying that per the chart, the energy chart usage you shown, it indicated that Ghana, we use less clean energy, and yet we want to, we are planning on adding nuclear energy. Is there any countermeasures to counteract the nuclear emissions from the nuclear energy, or nuclear energy is a clean energy on its own?
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, thank you. Engineer Mo, did you get his question?
It wasn't clear, but I think I'm trying to, the import of the question, he was trying to say that, do we have emission from nuclear? Is that a question?
No, what he's trying to say from the chart or what is happening currently, these thermal plants are contributing high to our energy mix. So he wants to know that why we want to add nuclear is nuclear clean energy source.
Okay, okay. You know, at the moment, all our thermal plants, they are running on natural gas. And natural gas, emission from natural gas as compared to less. So if the whole world is to use natural gas, I'm telling you, by the end of this 21st century, our temperature that we are actually looking at 1.5 degrees Celsius, we may be able to achieve it because natural gas emissions are quite better as compared to oil and coal fire plant. Again, nuclear power plant technically is emission free. Of course, there's no emission free energy in this world, but technically it's energy free, just like we mentioned. And apart from that, we can use them for base load. That's one of the encouragement or the reason why Ghana want to go for nuclear energy going forward. Thank you.
Oh, yes, thank you very much. I want, hello, Prof. Okay, let's just take A. Ahmed, then we can end the session. And then our dean will give the closing remarks. Hello. Yes, hello, Mr. A. Ahmed, please ask your question.
I was raising my hand the other time.
Hello, Mr. Ahmed.
Okay, hello, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Am I clear now?
Yes, please, you are audible.
Okay, I just want to ask question and more clarification from the presenter.
Okay, please.
Concerning the, is that?
Yes, please go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, you are audible. Please go ahead.
Okay, okay. I want to get more clarification on the policy, enabling policy that the government of the Ghana is putting in place concerning the energy mix, considering that based on the presentation, if you go by the pie chart, the thermal contribution to the grid is around 68%. Why that of solar is 3% and hydro is that in due time, the thermal, the diffusive force will be scarce. So what are the policy on ground that other source of energy should be able to come on board to augment this shortage that we may be experiencing in future time? Not just in Ghana, probably generally in Africa as a whole. So what mitigation or policy is on ground to cushion that effect in due course?
Okay, thank you for your question. Engineer Amo, do you want to comment on it?
Okay, yeah, a quick one. Thank you, our brother. You know, the tema that we have, like I said earlier on, they are all using natural gas. Then going forward into the future, even though there are people from Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change claiming that the oil we have, you know, Dr. Isando was even saying that, you know, that we have enough reserves in terms of oil. You see, it's a political talk for this expert to say that we are running out of oil very soon. Because if you run out of oil, what it means is that we are all going to die because medicine and all those plastics, they are all made from this oil.
Okay.
Now, this natural gas, which has become a big issue, you know that the price of fertilizer is very high now because you use natural gas in the production of fertilizer. If you don't have all these fossil fuel materials on the ground or in the ground, how are you going to survive as a human being? It's going to be difficult. So, you know, this energy sector, there are a lot of politics there. You know, the big guys are, you know, trying to do things. They are trying to massage the figures. America is the highest, in fact, they have the highest reserves when it comes to fuel. They have a lot of oil underground, but they are not actually exporting them. They are taking advantage of the oil from other people. They are buying a lot. America, China, they buy a lot of oil from the international market. Not because they don't have it, they have it. For us as a Ghanaians or as Africans, for you to survive and going forward, we have to get a base load. We have to get a plant that will give us continuous supply of electricity. That's one of the reasons why Ghana wants to go for nuclear. Because nuclear can give you dependable supply. So there are a lot of politics when it comes to energy, because energy is the foundation for any economy to survive in this world. So going forward, the expert, you know, Ghana, you know how to also go forward and then get what we want. Like Engineer Isando said, if you don't get the Americans involved, these are the guys, when they speak, it comes to pass. You can't even establish your nuclear power plant. And that's the fact. You know, Egypt, they are trying to build about 4,800 megawatts of nuclear power plant. And they are being sponsored by Russia, about 28 billion US dollars. It's not a small amount of money. You see the point? So you have to get the big guys in support. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. I must add that for Ghana, we have the Renewable Energy Act that was enacted by Parliament, and then we have the Renewable Energy Master Plan that has been developed to guide our transition or increase our renewable energy mix. So in that Renewable Energy Master Plan, we have Ghana is planning to have 10% of renewable in its energy mix. So I think that will address what the country is doing. At this time, we've spent, because of how insightful the webinar has been, we've exceeded our time, and we would like to thank everybody for participating. I want to call on our Dean to give the closing remarks, then we can end the webinar. Those who have shared their emails in the chat, after the webinar, we'll process the video and upload it on our YouTube channel, and then share the link to you to download for later use, and then we'll share the slides with you. I think our Dean is ready. Engineer, Prof, please, can you give us the closing remarks? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the presentation was superb and on point. I would like to thank Engineer Amu Dudu for the detailed presentation you have made. We look forward to getting